Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wine Writers Wrap Up. I am so happy to be here with my wine writing friends, and today it is October, but I thought that we would get into a little prep, which is really rare for me to be prepared for anything. But since Thanksgiving is coming up, and I guess a little late for Canadian Thanksgiving since that was yesterday, but anyway, Thanksgiving is such an interesting wine holiday because the tables have so much going on, during that dinner, and it's like food fest from the kickoff of the first game till way past the ending of the second game of the day, and there's just so much opportunity for wine. So I reached out and asked my wine friends for some of their Thanksgiving traditions and some of their favorite pairings. So before we get into that, I'm going to give them each a little bit of time to introduce themselves. So Maria, how about you first?
Hi everybody, I'm Maria Ferraro Beardsley from Wine and Cheese Friday. Many of you that have seen me on here know that I travel all the time. So where am I? I'm in Montana today. You'll find me on all the social media stuff talking about wine and cheese pairings. That's our main deal.
It can't get better than wine and cheese, seriously. And Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Kelly, and I write for California Wines and Wineries. Also hold the annual Cabernet Franc celebration out in California. And this year we're going, besides just doing it domestically, we're also going international for Cab Francs.
Woohoo! Debbie?
I'm Debbie Giaquinto. I'm known as the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I'm a wine blogger, wine writer, certified specialist in wine, and a wine location specialist in Port and Champaign, and an author of Tapping the Hudson Valley, day trips and weekend itineraries visiting the Hudson Valley wine region, and I'm co-host with Lori for Wine for Bet Street, and I think that's it.
You forgot the restaurant.
Oh, I'm co-owner of Trio North Wildwood. It's a restaurant in North Wildwood, New Jersey, and we will be open till the end of the year, December 31st, and then we'll reopen again in April.
Awesome. And we have a newcomer. I'm so excited to the Wine Writers Wrap Up. Carlos.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Carlos Sarmiento from Miami, Florida, with Carlos Food and Wine. My background is really public relations, but food and wine has been in my blood since I was in high school. I was opting to be a chef, but that changed. So I came back during the pandemic and started cooking again and documenting it, and carlos-food-wine.com started from that. And really my goal is to get everybody back into the kitchen and try new things, both with food and with the proper wine pairing. So I am here to learn, I'm here to share, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Lori.
Well, I'm so happy to have you. We have been social media buddies for quite some time, so I'm so happy to finally have you here and to see you face to face. And I am your host, Lori. My husband Michael and I own Dracaena Wines in Paso Robles. We are specialists in Cabernet Franc, and I, on the other side of it, hold my WSET Level 2, UC Davis winemaking graduate, Champagne specialist, and most recently, Rioja specialist. That was 2 weeks ago I did that. And I am so happy to have everybody here and talking about Thanksgiving and what you drink and what you eat and what you do on that wonderful holiday, which just happens to be the holiday that I was born on, so it's a little special holiday. And are people drinking? Michael, you've got your water? All right, so Michael's got his water. It looks like he's got a little added powder in there. Carlos, what are you drinking?
Tonight I'm having a Francis Coppola Claret.
Oh, okay, very nice. In a Coppola glass even.
Yes.
Very nice.
You can tell. All right, there you go.
I got eyes like a hawk, man. Maria, what about you? Are you drinking?
Yeah, I've got a GSM from South Africa. It's called Lubanzi. Never heard of it before. I was at the grocery store. They had cans of it, and I was like, that sounds good, but let me see what they have in bottles. And then I was like, oh, they have a bottle of it too. All right. So I just opened it, and I get a lot of berry. My husband said he got a lot of tannins, so we're all different.
Different palates, absolutely. A little bit easier to get wine in Montana than Costa Rica, huh?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, they have it in the grocery store here, so at least I can find it.
Deb, what are you drinking?
Well, I've already had 2 bottles of Chardonnay, so
Nice.
So I've got water.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Had fish for dinner, so we had some Chardonnay, and I left the corks out, so I was going to bring the corks to the event here, but
they're downstairs.
No, they ended up in the trash because Paul cleaned it.
Oh. And well, I was doing wine all day from noon to 4:30 today. So as we do, we go to an IPA at night. After wine all day, it's IPA at night. So this is Voodoo Ranger, and it is one of my favorite IPAs to have in the house. So everybody, sláinte, and thank you for joining. Even your water, Michael.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into our conversation about Thanksgiving. So who wants to start off with a Thanksgiving tradition that they do, something that you do? Is there anything that you do every Thanksgiving? Anybody can jump in.
I'll go. I'll break the ice.
All right.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm glad you brought Thanksgiving to the discussion. Last year, during the pandemic, it was really, I was kind of starting this carlosfood-wine.com website, and in Miami, it's pretty traditional, especially within the Latin community, to not only do turkey during Thanksgiving, but the majority, especially if you're Cuban American like I am, pork is usually involved in it. So we did 2 things. We did the traditional turkey breast, not a complete turkey. I did a turkey breast in the air fryer, which turned out extremely well. And we always do a pork loin. And we do it, the pork loin, we do it Cuban style with, sour oranges and garlic and spices. And normally I like to do, I think of Thanksgiving with your typical calves, maybe a Merlot, occasionally a Pinot. But for this Thanksgiving that I did last year, I actually paired it with Malbec. And I found it an extremely versatile wine that went both with the turkey and with the pork loin. But I was thinking more of the pork side than the turkey, so that's awesome that it went with the turkey also. Yeah, it went really well. I mean, we did some really good side items like your typical mashed potatoes. We did sweet potato mash. We also did, my favorite was green beans with almonds, green beans almondine, French style. And I did asparagus with lemon zest, which really brought, because it's still hot over here in Miami during Thanksgiving, even in Christmas. So you want something fresh with a lot of bite. So I found that the asparagus with lemon zest really brought out the taste for the rest of the meal.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I have all of these recipes are available on my website, which I can share with you later. And I plan actually to repeat them. I love them so much. But this time I'd like to try a different wine. Hint, maybe a Cabernet Franc this time.
I like hearing that. Deb, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I said I want to try his pork wine.
Yeah.
It's done.
Very good. Easy to do, quickly, and I guarantee you're gonna love the taste. It's very it just goes really well, and it's not even a Thanksgiving. I mean, this is a dish you can do pretty much year round.
Awesome, yeah. Fantastic. Now, in terms of what you do on Thanksgiving, has anybody been to the parade? Yeah, I was gonna say, Deborah, you've been. Okay.
I've been.
How many times have you been to the parade, Deb?
Just once.
Do you ever want to go again?
Never.
Never.
Some things are better watched from your living room. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, so my grandmother, my mom grew up in New York City. My grandmother lived there. She died in 2006. So we had her apartment, which was on West 86th Street and Broadway. And I'm like, I'm going to the parade. So packed up the kids, the husband. We went to the parade. And it was great. It was a once-in-a-lifetime bucket list, let's check off. But you know what? It's much better watched from your living room while you're cooking dinner.
Yes.
I absolutely concur. I think it's something that everybody should do. You know, if you're in the area, it's definitely everybody should do it because it really is, the parade is, I think it's incredible on TV, but it is mesmerizing in real life. And but I don't need to do it again. Like,
But I feel like the night before, the night before Thanksgiving, when they blew up the balloons on Central Park West.
that's cool.
That's really a sight. That's really a sight to see. And you have to go one way, and it's really a sight to
Well,
see.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. Go to
That's
that.
actually probably better than the parade.
Right.
But when you go to the parade, you know, once you go in, that's it. You know, like, we're your dependents.
Yeah.
You're not going out and
And that was before anything.
life-changing situations happen here.
Yeah.
But the night before they start blowing them up around 4 o'clock, I think, and that's really a sight to see them blowing up the balloons.
Yeah. It's non-Thanksgiving, but we were in New Orleans for prior to Mardi Gras, and our hotel actually had a view of where they store all of the floats.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to see too. So that's another thing. But that's not Thanksgiving. But yes, I think everybody should do a Thanksgiving parade at least once in their life and then be done with it and be able to say that was cool. But so any traditions would you do? Go ahead, Deb, I'm sorry.
No, I said I just can't believe it took me as an adult to go down there. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say for me, because I travel so much, my Thanksgiving isn't always with family, but the parade is one of the things that I always try to watch. And then when Santa Claus comes down at the end, I always call my mom. That's one of our Thanksgiving traditions because I'm not usually with her, but it does tie into the parade. And I've never gone to see it live, but I do watch it. And even if I can't find it like for the whole way through, I try to find it like right at the end so that I can say Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving and whatever and call my mom on the right time. So.
That's so nice. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Michael, do you watch the parade?
Yeah, we watch it, in between football games and everything else, but we do watch it. And then both my kids marched in it for the high school band.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but we didn't go back for it. We let the kids go. I think the band was 200 kids, 200 high school kids. We let them all go, and we said, "You have a good time." But they had a good time. They enjoyed it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of walking.
Yeah. But the only tradition I was just going to say the only tradition we have is that we have we usually let the kids and their families go off to their respective in-laws, and we bring in. We've always had adopted kids, and these are friends that are younger than us, but they're not really as young as our kids, but we call them our adopted kids. And they're from Ireland, from the Philippines, they're from all around, and they always come, or they're really old, they're in their 90s, and their kids aren't around, so we bring them in. So it's kind of a mass huddling, and everybody just gives thanks for being together for that day.
Wow.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
In my house, like Thanksgiving is my holiday. When I grew up, my mom always had Thanksgiving, you know, and as we aged up, Thanksgiving was our holiday because I'm Jewish and we all married Catholics. So we all went to our spouses' families for Christmas. So Thanksgiving was our holiday. And to this day, hopefully it still will be. Hopefully my daughter who just moved to Boston will come down for Thanksgiving with her fiance, and my son who just got married a couple weeks ago will come down. And Gus comes down, and we have my friend Jen and her mom, and it's, you know, our own little now families, and we're all we have.
That's extended families. They're awesome. They are.
Extended family because it's not all, you know.
Well, Maria, similar to you calling your mom when Santa comes, March of the Wooden Soldiers is usually on Thanksgiving Day. Has anybody seen that movie? Like old Laurel and Hardy movie. It's a black and white movie. It's Laurel and Hardy, and it's kind of like all fairy tale people are in it. And we always watched it as kids with my dad and my mom, you know, or, well, more with my dad. My mom would be in and out doing whatever she was doing, but we would sit down. And now that we're not living at home anymore, you know, it would be the same thing. I would call and like, oh, March of the Wooden Soldiers are on, and then there's certain scenes that, you know, are more funny to us or whatever, and you'd call up, it's that scene, you know. So it's really nice to be able to have something that is tradition that brings you back to your family even if you're not there.
Well, yeah.
All right, so food-wise, Carlos explained what he does for food. Any special meals? Maria, you're going, yeah, so wherever you are, what are you cooking?
Well, you know, Thanksgiving is actually really tricky for Neil and I because Neil actually has like a million food allergies, so he's actually allergic to turkey. So we can't have turkey, and
Neil, what are we going to do with you?
And he's gluten sensitive, so we can't have stuffing or pie or any of that. So when we first found out about all of that, we said, you know what, we're just going to skip Thanksgiving and we're going to go camping. So we would go camping most years on Thanksgiving, and we would eat salmon and drink Pinot Noir and cook it all on the fire, and that was our Thanksgiving a while ago. But at one point, we found out about a stuffed pumpkin, and it's a pumpkin that you put spinach, walnuts, like pomegranate seeds, just all these different things, like pumpkin seeds, I think, like all different things like that. You put them all in a pumpkin, and you bake the pumpkin. And so we did that a few holidays because we wanted to feel festive and have something holiday-like and not have to worry about all of Neil's allergies. So the stuffed pumpkin was really cool, and we like to pair wines that had spice in them with that because that flavor usually went really well with the pumpkin. So we had Mourvedre one year. We had, I would say, probably a GSM another year. So we were all in that same area, but we liked, if we could find a wine that might have had like a cinnamon note to it, we thought that would go really well with the pumpkin. So, so that was cool. But for us, it would be like we would eat the pumpkin together, and maybe there'd be a couple family members, but my family is all over the U.S., so having a big Thanksgiving meal has probably only happened since graduating college, maybe 3 times, 4 times. That's probably it. So, so we usually have our own Thanksgiving meal, but the Thanksgiving pumpkin was really cool. I would definitely recommend that for someone else who might not eat Thanksgiving foods.
Well, I'm going to need to get that recipe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have it. It's been a while since we made it, but I'm pretty sure I still have it. I have a whole folder of recipes.
Maria, have you considered the Mediterranean diet?
Yeah, we actually and it's funny because we actually eat a lot of Latin inspired foods because a lot of the Latin, Greek, Mediterranean, all of those things, you can get away from gluten and any bird meat usually. So those are our main things that we avoid. But yeah, it's so funny because when we get into a situation where it's like pizza and hamburgers, that's when it gets hard for us because that's all like, you know, regular American food. But
I was challenged not too long ago by a colleague of mine that had, you know, gluten-free, and she actually asked me to come up with a menu for her. So I came up doing some research with Mediterranean diet, big on sweet potato and that kind of thing, which really goes with the season. Right. And I think I did a chicken recipe, but well, you're saying you can't do, you know, birds, but maybe a pork loin or maybe some sort of seafood might go well with that too.
Right.
And I can tell you like white wines, right? You enjoy white wines, so.
I like all wines, but.
You know, I'm all about wines whatever your taste is, whatever your feel is, doesn't matter what time of the year. I mean, in Miami it's perpetual summer, so it doesn't matter. Right. But I found with the Mediterranean diet, like a good Albarino from Spain is fantastic and is very versatile. So, but I'd be happy to share, you know, my website. I have a few recipes that might go with what you need as well.
Sure.
Sorry, shameless plug here.
Sure.
That's okay. That's okay.
Hey, we're all about sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Debbie knows, and, well, Michael knows too, I don't eat meat.
Oh, okay.
It has to be very hidden. It has to be very hidden for me to eat it. So, you know, when Debbie and I do wine pairing, like we alternate for Wine from Bed Street who does the wine pairing. I'm like, every time I have to do it, I'm like, you know. But so my Thanksgiving is very simple. I do spinach, I do green beans, so that almond green bean thing sounds delicious, and there's biscuits. That's my meal. That has been my meal since a little kid. Family makes the turkey, family makes cranberry, family makes all of that stuff, and I eat the biscuits, cream spinach, and green beans. That's the meal.
But what about lentils? Do you like lentils?
Yeah, sort of, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love hummus when you all grind it up, but to bite into a bean, not so much. It's all, as my husband says, it's all texture. It's all about the mouthfeel. So, but let's get into wine and Thanksgiving. So, as I said at the beginning, right, Thanksgiving is easy to wine pair, but difficult to wine pair at the same time because it's so many, you know, like I don't think there's any other holiday really that you plop down like 20 different things on a table at the same time. So what are your favorite? I have in my head the types of wines that I always have on the table for Thanksgiving, and they pretty much include the lighter bodied wines like a Pinot Noir. One of my favorites is Gamay for Thanksgiving, and then if I'm going into the white realm, you know, there's always sparkling on any holiday table for me. There's always a sparkling, but I like Cava or Prosecco when it comes to Thanksgiving. So just what are some of your favorite wines for Thanksgiving, and what are you pairing it with? Like the asparagus is one of the most difficult things to pair food with. And I don't know, that jelly, cranberry thing, I don't know what you pair with that, and I don't know why anybody has that on the table. But what are your favorite pair? Michael, you eat that jelly cranberry?
So, you gotta have cranberry.
Well,
yeah,
so
but like I would think
cranberry. I have lots of different kinds of cranberries because I make you know, cranberry sauce from cranberries, and it usually has alcohol in it, like I don't know, vanilla, bourbon.
That's why Deb and I get along so well.
And I have to, like, half of it I take out because somebody that attends our Thanksgiving is AA, so I got to have something for her to eat. And then my nephews and my kids like the Ocean Spray gel cranberry, so there's like 3 things of those. So there's all different kinds of cranberry sauce at my house. But I will say, like, we like to start with sparkling wine, and it's usually a cava or a or champagne, a grower champagne. And last year we ended up with, we had a turkey and a ham. So we had, white wines, Albarino, we had Pinot Noir, we had some Chardonnays, we had Gamay, but we didn't go anywhere stronger than like a Pinot Noir as far as reds go, and white was pretty much Chardonnay, Albarino.
The lighter wines. You're agreeing with lighter aspect.
And this year I think I'm going to try some pet nats instead of sparkling. I got some Hudson Valley pet nats that I think will be a really nice, to start off with. That's the pet nat of Cab Franc.
Ooh, we got to hear about that.
It's really good. I did my seminar.
Nice. Michael, I'm still flabbergasted that you served the canned cranberry.
Oh, no.
I'm flabbergasted.
So it's both. It's both canned and the.
It doesn't matter. I am flabbergasted that is even in your house.
Yeah. It is. It's in the cabinet. It's in the pantry.
And it will be there. Doomsday will come, and that cranberry will still be in it.
No, it gets served on Thanksgiving.
Canned cranberry sauce gelled is like a staple for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like the Twinkie of Thanksgiving. It just
Yes.
1 year before we started the Thanksgiving meal, I did a wine and cheese pairing with the family, and we had a Prosecco and a goat cheese that was rolled in cranberries. And then we still had some of the cheese left, and that year we had a ham and a turkey. And so I spread some of the cheese on the turkey, and I was like, oh, man, this is good. So it was cheese, turkey, and cranberry. So it wasn't any of the fake cranberry. I guess it was probably, I would say it was more like a craisin that was on the outside of the cheese. It wasn't like fresh or gel or whatever. It was dried cranberry probably, but that was our cranberry that we had 1 year with our Thanksgiving meal.
All right, that cranberry, that goat cheese with the cranberry, they also have that. You did it with when you did it with the blueberry. That is so good. I could eat that all day long.
Yeah.
I could eat that all day long. But all right, Michael, bring it on.
Well,
What's on your table?
So I made the cardinal sin today, trying to figure out what we serve for Thanksgiving, because I'm not involved typically in the food preparation. I do all the other things, but I don't get involved with Thanksgiving. That's my wife and the kids typically. If they're here, if they're not here, it's just my wife doing it, and it's for all of our friends that show up in these. So, and then last year it was the COVID, and the year before we actually drove 2 hours to meet with 18 people at a Chinese restaurant. So that's why I didn't have the memory of what we were doing for Thanksgiving. So I called, my wife is out of town. I text her. I said, what do we serve for Thanksgiving? She goes, don't you know I'm always cooking? I go, no, I don't. So I'm in the doghouse. But anyway, she informed me today, and I wrote it down. We always have turkey for Thanksgiving, and we always have prime rib for Christmas. So I said, great, got that. So then I went back to 2016 and started looking at my photos of what we served. Now, 2 years were absentee, being last year and the Chinese, because we had to drive 2 hours. We weren't drinking. So, but I went back, and what we had been serving, we always start out with champagne, a French champagne, just because we're having friends over that we don't see all the time, and we appreciate them. And then we do a nice Chardonnay, either a Kistler, a Maritana, or a Peter Michael, I mean. And then we typically go into, then for the actual meal, we serve Pinot Noir, or we serve Picpoul, or a Roussanne, or a Roussanne.
Oh, Picpoul.
Yeah, we do and I really like this Marsanne Roussanne 50-50 blend. And that's kind of been our, for not the last 2 years, but the previous 3 or 4 years, that's what we had been serving for the wines.
I like Picpoul on the Thanksgiving table. What do you guys think? Do you agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah, I've yet to try that. So
you haven't had Picpoul, or just Picpoul with Thanksgiving?
No, at all. I've never tried that one at all.
Okay. So Picpoul is the name, comes from Lipstinger, right? So it's a very acidic wine, but it
and
is.
That's why you need the cranberries on the turkey with the wine.
Right. The lip-smacking wine, huh?
It is. Oh, I love Picpoul. I gotta go. That's good.
Talbot's Creek in California does a Picpoul.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been using Acquiesce, which is right down 45 minutes from here. We spent a lot of time with Susan Tipton at Acquiesce, and so I like all of her white wines. She's just kind of got the whole market on white wines.
Yes.
Yes. So Carlos, if you are not familiar with Acquiesce, you need to be.
Okay.
She is magical, and it's all white, which is rare. But I have yet to have a wine of hers that is not stunning. It's not even just drinkable. Each wine is stunning. Which
one to purchase to bring home, because.
Well, I solved that last time this summer.
You bought them all?
Well, this summer, my wife and I went down and we did a tasting, and I went through it, and I said, I went down, I was just going to get a couple of bottles of this, a couple of bottles of that. I came home with, I think, $800 worth of wine with my discount. Wow. So I ended up buying 4 or 5 of her wines.
Yeah. Carla, she is incredible. Her wines are outrageous.
Wow, okay. I'll check it out for sure.
Carlos, I can also tell you that Lori and Debbie did an episode of Winefabet Street about Picpoul, and when I tasted it, I listened to their broadcast so I could learn more about it when I was tasting it. So if you want to learn more about it, you can find it with them talking all about it.
Aw, thanks, Maria.
Nice. All right.
We did. All right, so winefabetstreet.com. Yep. All right, so we have turkey. We have that dreaded cranberry in a can. Is there anything else that you guys have? Carlos, you talked about the green beans with almonds. Is there anything else that you feel needs to be on a table of Thanksgiving? And then is there the perfect wine? Like, do you guys just, with your wine, do you just open it and have a field day that, like everything gets opened at the same time? Or are you, all right, here's the introduction, here's the appetizer, here's the main course, we're going to have a couple of here's the dessert. How do you guys deal with the wine when it comes to Thanksgiving?
I try to find a wine that is kind of universal, that I'll buy like a few bottles of the same wine that I know may long last. I try not to mix too many wines. At least I do. It's a good idea. I like what I hear about the champagne or the Prosecco, something sparkling in the beginning. I think that's fun. I'm going to try that. I haven't done that. But normally I just stick with one wine. I'll try to do a white and a red for those that like white and red. And I try to be as close as I can as far as food pairing with both wines. But I try to just stick with two so I don't go crazy. Yeah, and with whites, I guess I tend to go with like the oaky stuff, shards and that kind of thing. But with reds, I try to blend it. Lately I've been getting into the blends much more than single, source grapes. Although I did find that lately the cabs from Paso are fantastic. I find them so mellow, and I find them so sweet, and I think they go really well. And for me, it's all about the alcohol per volume. For me, the sweet spot is at 13.5%. Anything higher than that requires like a good steak or something very austere and robust. So I try to go, if I'm going to go with a cab, I try to go with a 13.5%. Otherwise, I will hit, like you said, the Burgundies or or maybe the Pinots. But I'm interested in knowing, these Cab Francs, what they offer, because I think, to me, Cab Francs lately have been a wondrous grape, a wondrous wine that is amazing and versatile. So I would like to try it for this year. I would like to see what I can do with Cab Francs.
Well, they are very versatile. That when somebody asks me, well, what is a Cab Franc? I tell them, it's the parent of Cabernet Sauvignon, it's the parent of Merlot, it's the parent of Malbec, and it kind of takes the best of all of those. And it's got the body of a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's got that little spice of that Carmenere Malbec, world, and then it's got that silky finish of a Merlot. So it's Cab Franc has taken its best qualities and has dished it out to its offspring little by little. So I do think it's a good pairing for on the Thanksgiving table, because it is usually a lighter meal. Although Cab Franc can stand up to that slab of steak,
right.
But it can do that.
I'll tell you what.
Sorry, I love it. Okay.
In our house, our Thanksgiving, it starts around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll start with the sparkling and with the white wines, and then we transition. And everybody's Thanksgiving is different, and everybody has their own special dishes that they serve. One of ours is a noodle pudding. It's noodles with cottage cheese, sour cream, and on the top it's cornflake crumbs and butter and mashed potatoes and stuffing. And we do have vegetables and stuff too. But we kind of transition from the appetizers. We do a bunch of appetizers while we watch football. And we're usually drinking sparkling wines and white wines, and then we transition over to dinner, where we drink more white wines, and then we move over to the red.
That's pretty similar to us. We'll start with the sparkling, and as I said, we typically are doing Prosecco or Cava. Debbie, I want to get more into the grower champagne, why you like grower champagne. We'll do that in a minute. And then we kind of migrate into an Albarino for the white. Usually have a Chardonnay because people are familiar with Chardonnay, and Albarino scares people off sometimes just because of the name. But then when we get to that heart of the meal, like I said, we do Pinot or Gamay, and then we usually end up with a sparkling or the rare moment that we open up a port for the dessert, but that's kind of like our realm. We kind of go like the peak and then back down. But yeah. So Deb, I want to go back to that grower. Why you very specifically said grower champagne, and so why do you choose grower champagne?
Because I belong to a champagne club.
Oh.
And it's all growers champagne. But it's what people don't realize, and this is probably a topic of another conversation, is you don't have to have like these champagne houses like the Vouv and everything. They buy grapes from all these other growers. So these growers have now also produced their own sparkling wines, and there's some wonderful. I can't tell you off the top what the name is because it's in my wine cellar, and I'm really bad with memorizing them. But there's one in particular that it's fantastic, and they make really good wines. They produce them in small lots, small quantities, because a lot of their grapes are sold off to the champagne houses. But you really can't turn an eye to them because they're wonderful. And a lot of times they're sold for half the price on the market.
Yep.
So,
And that's the key.
And these are U.S. Sparkling wines?
No, French.
Oh, French, okay.
They are champagne. Okay. And the thing is that these are the growers that the big houses are buying their grapes from, right? So the big houses, some of them have estate fruit, but the majority of them are buying them from these growers, you know, and they're producing these big labels that are getting hundreds of dollars for a bottle. And these growers have decided, well, what the heck, man? So if you walk into a wine store and you see that it's a grower champagne, it very often is the same exact grapes that are being made into the $100 bottles of champagne, but it's you know, the low man on the totem pole. It's the people that are in the vineyard doing the hard work, right? It's, you know, you can't make a great wine from crappy grapes, right? So these are the people who are making sure that the grapes are stellar, and now they're making their own wines. And I mean, like, you can get for like under $20 something, right? Like
$25 to $30.
Okay, right. So $25 gets you an incredible champagne, you know, and it's kind of like the little known secret. Go with the grower.
We need to share this information, Lori. I hope you can share some of this because this is great stuff.
I don't know how they are in the liquor stores. I mean, I think you have to really know what's in, you know, the liquor stores and the label. I belong to a champagne wine club where I get growers champagne, so which some of it's phenomenal. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, but you can go into even some of those bigger box wine stores like Total Wine and those guys. If you go in, they often have labeled grower champagne. You know, if you go into because it's legit champagne. It's from the Champagne region, so it's titled champagne, but they're calling it grower because it doesn't have the chateau attached to it. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. I had not heard of that either, so I'll have to see what I can find for that too.
Yeah,
maybe
it is.
For the holidays or during the holidays on grower champagne.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
My list.
Right. Michael, what's going on? You're quiet tonight. Come on, talk to me. More of your wine for Thanksgiving.
Well, this is the first time I've been out of bed in 3 days, to be honest with you.
Oh,
I've been sick as a dog.
Oh.
Yeah, I had so that's why I'm more quiet. It's just I'm not arguing about. I'm not going to be talking about rosés or anything like that tonight.
So for those of you who do not know, our last Wine Writers Wrap Up was about future wine trends, and although I thought the biggest battle would be about robots in the wine world, Michael became very fixated on rosé.
Wait. So yay or nay on the rosé?
Nay.
Oh. Okay. I won't pick a fight with Mike, but okay.
So I ended up actually publishing. I'm going to thank Lori for the platform, because I ended up publishing that story and literally got over 200 comments on all the various blogs and websites and everything else, and got more people talking about 70% actually agreed with me that this is just a passing fancy. And 30% thought I basically didn't. I had probably had some kind of problem with my palate, not understanding rosé. So there was this, but it was interesting conversations, and most of them were fairly civil. A couple of people got a little uncivil, but that's okay. But it was a very good exchange amongst a lot of hundreds of people, and it was quite an interesting conversation and dynamic. And probably one of the more, I'd say, controversial writings that I've done and put it out there. But I did try to tell people it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and so I think people took it in a good light that way. But it did arouse. I mean, those were over 100 comments, but there was either thumbs down or thumbs up, hundreds and hundreds of
wow.
icons on it. So. Emojis. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway.
Michael was very adamant. There will be no rosé on his Thanksgiving table.
There will not be. In fact, in the story I said the only time if somebody gives me a rosé for some reason, it goes to I usually bring it out for some unsuspecting folks at Thanksgiving. That's kind of what I do. That's how I get rid of it. Give it to somebody. But, you know, the only thing that we really do, I mean, it really is, you know, when you have all these appetizers and potato chips and the eggs and, you know, stuffed eggs and all the stuff. All that, we just put out a bunch of what I call fairly inexpensive Chardonnay. And then when we sit down for dinner, we have a good Chardonnay. Mm. So, and we start out first initially, like I said, with champagne. Then we go to a very high-end Chardonnay, and then we just bring out a bunch of other Chardonnays, and then a nice Pinot, and that's pretty much the Roussanne, Marsanne, and that's kind of the evening. And you know, there's all kinds of other things. There's, you know, the dressings, and there's we call it. My grandmother used to make this thing called sweet potato poo. Now, sweet potato poo is not necessarily the kind of thing you want to see on your typical Thanksgiving table, but it is a sweet potato mush, I call it. I'm sure there's a better word for it, but and topped with a marshmallow glaze, and then that is served and baked and then given out. And the description, the name alone tells you what it looks like, but that's what's served on the plates.
Yeah. So that's going to lead me to my last comment about Thanksgiving is the desserts. So what is everybody's favorite dessert for Thanksgiving? What do people eat on Thanksgiving for their you know, let's wrap up this meal. So Michael, we already know that sweet potato poo. But
I love pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is my favorite. And like I already said, I don't always go to a Thanksgiving dinner, but there have been years where I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, I'm just going to buy myself a pumpkin pie right now, and I'm just going to eat pumpkin pie. So whether I get it on Thanksgiving or not, I will have it. So I find it whenever I can.
And have you paired it with the wine?
I don't think I ever have. Has anybody else? Is there like an official pumpkin pie pairing?
No.
It's got a lot of spice to it. So, you know, I mean, not to go back to it, but like I haven't done it, but Cab Franc pairs very well with pumpkin stuff, like butternut squash, that whole fall thing Cabernet Franc pairs well with. But I'm wondering about Malbec with it. Deb, what do you think? Malbec to?
Give us Syrah.
Well.
Oh.
Syrah could be good.
Syrah.
A little
smokiness.
Yeah. I've actually had the remnants of a Malbec when we started the meal and did finish it off because I do like wine with my dessert for some reason. And I did two things. I did a pumpkin pie because I love pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. My trick for pumpkin pie is that I add a shot of dark aged rum to the mix in the pumpkin pie. So it brings out a little bit of spiciness in the pie. And of course, I love apple, so I do apple pie too. And yes, the Malbec, and it does phenomenal with it. I mean, it goes great.
Oh, that's cool.
How about a Mourvedre? Monastrell?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Mourvedre for us went well when we had it with the pumpkin. So, I mean, I would guess that with the pumpkin pie, it would work there too. I don't know. I'm so excited about the pie. I'm not thinking about anything else. So there's no wine involved at that point.
So I always make an apple
Look.
pie. Eats it because in my family everyone's chocolate driven. But I go apple picking and I make an apple pie. So I make an apple pie and then we always have something chocolate.
Okay. And what do you like? Do you have wine with the apple pie?
Yeah. I think Riesling goes well with the apple pie.
I agree.
I would guess maybe a Chardonnay could too, because some Chardonnays have that apple note to it. I don't know. That could work.
You got a great sweetness in it a little bit.
Yeah, a note maybe.
Well, they're on their own with whatever reds are left. But yeah, somebody always brings like a chocolate something, and so.
Yeah. Oh, I like the apple in the Riesling. I like the apple in the Riesling. Yeah. All right. Well, I am now hungry again. But I need to go make biscuits so I can think about Thanksgiving. All right. So, are we ready for the riddle?
Yeah.
Michael, you have your pen. Maria's got her brain. We're all ready. I went Thanksgiving, so it's kind of a little different than the other riddles. So the other riddles are more like thinking this is kind of like jokey riddle. I'll give that hint. Okay, less thinking and more jokey riddle, and definitely think little kids. Little kids, right? These are the jokes when you were a little kid. All right. Why didn't the turkey finish his dessert?
Because he was stuffed.
Maria, of course, gets it.
I told you, bet on her. I told you that's where the big money is, right there.
He was quick.
I guess
so
we used a lot of little kids.
I thought it was such a cute little joke riddle, whatever it was. Usually, Carlos, I will say it's a little bit more brain teaser type thing, but I wanted it to be Thanksgiving. Okay.
I'm going to use that one, okay, with the kids.
So thank you everybody for joining the Wine Writers Wrap Up. It was so much fun to talk to you about Thanksgiving and wine pairing suggestions. And I'm going to give you each that one little minute at the end to talk about yourselves. And if you have one Thanksgiving tip for somebody, wine, or a favorite wine that you pair with Thanksgiving, or a little wine tip that you want to give somebody, please share that with them. Okay, Michael, you're already big screen for me, so I'm going to go with you first.
Okay. So I want a quick follow-up rather than what I do. We mentioned Cab Franc earlier and various foods. Just so you know, for the Cab Franc this year, which is in April, the celebration, we're doing a whole thing with vegetarian foods, both for appetizers one evening and then the next night dinner. And it's a vegetarian meal that's also for vegetarians as well as the carnivores in the audience. So just wanted to pass that information on. Other than that, it's Cabernet. So I do California wines and wineries. And Carlos, I do a lot of food and wine pairings also. And you'll look on that and you'll see a lot of different things there. And then that's enough. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Maria?
We, like I already mentioned earlier, Wine and Cheese Friday. My handle on most things is @WineCheeseFry. My Thanksgiving tip, I would say, is try more Vedra if you haven't, because like I said, I've had it a couple times, and I know that when I was selling wine a million years ago that nobody had heard of it, nobody knew what it was. I would say still it's not one of those common ones that people find or know about. So if you're looking to try something new, try that.
Awesome. Carlos?
Well, first I want to thank everybody here. And Lori, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I hope we can do this again. I did type in the chat my website. If you guys want to try something a little bit alternative for Thanksgiving with the pork, I do have some traditional sides. But as far as wines are concerned, I guess I am a traditionalist. I would definitely go with lighter wines, both Pinots, Chardonnays. I am anxious to try maybe some blends and definitely a Cabernet Franc in the future. But whatever you do, just do it with love.
I like it. Do it with love. Deb?
I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I can be found at HudsonValleyWineGoddess.com and HB Wine Goddess on Instagram and Twitter, and Hudson Valley Wine Goddess on Facebook. And my restaurant is Trio North Wildwood on all the social media channels. And the one thing for Thanksgiving is drink what you like. Enjoy it. I mean, as much as we're talking about what we like and what we do what you like. And it's most important that you enjoy it. And experiment and try different wines.
Yep.
Except for rosé. No,
come on now.
Had to get my shot in.
Michael, when's your birthday? I'm going to buy you a case of rosé.
Send it here. Send it to Miami. We'll drink it.
I like Provence rosé. Other than that, I don't like all the American rosés. That's all.
We'll have to have a discussion about rosé on the off.
Yes.
Yes. And again, I am Lori, your host. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And I agree, you've got to drink what you like. And you know what? Thanksgiving is all about bringing people together and just being together with either your true family, your extended family, whatever makes you happy. And you know what? I'm thinking, like, as I'm talking about this, I'm thinking GSM and Petit Verdot. Think about a Petit Verdot. Find a wine with some Petit Verdot in there to get some of that spice in there to pull in some of those, the second half of Thanksgiving, the second half of the meal. So that's my tip. Let's look a little bit more into some wines with some Petit Verdot, Mourvedre, there's GSMs. There's so many wines out there. I love Grenache I love Grenache altogether, but Grenache with Thanksgiving is another option. But I like what people are saying. Drink what you like, do what you love, and be with people that you care about. That's really what Thanksgiving is. So thank you, everybody, for joining. I actually saved one little slug left of my IPA. I don't know if people got more wine left, but as I say, slancha, and thank you for joining, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, everybody.
Slancha. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.